First and foremost, I want to defend Bungie for this event because this is usually not how it usually goes for them, okay? If you're unaware, Bungie does an event like this, a competitive event like this, during Guardian games, where basically they give us a nightfall each week, and you try to get in the top 1% each week, and then they give you an exclusive emblem for being in the top 1% from doing that nightfall, right? And usually when you optimize your build, or your run, I should say, when you optimize your run inside that nightfall and get a 1%, it's damn near impossible to get out of the 1%. Because when you get into the 1%, the only people you're competing with are other people that perfected and, optimized their run of that said nightfall. So usually you get in 1% in Guardian games, you rarely ever see yourself drop out of 1% because you did your thing, right? Now, in this event, the issue with this event was it relied off of the portal point system, which is cool when it was based on light level. And this is where my complaint comes in with this event, not towards Bungie, but towards the complaining player base, the community, okay? People in the community, the casuals, complained about players that were 550 power getting higher scores than them in this event. Okay, there's multiple issues with that complaint. First issue is you're complaining that a player that kept grinding and playing the game when y'all decided to play a different game is being rewarded for their time playing their game. Do you see how backwards that sounds? You're mad because someone was playing Destiny's game, so they have an advantage over you because they kept playing the game. Like, huh? Do that even make logical sense in y'all head? So you basically saying, even though this person worked harder than me, I want to still start at the same starting line as them. I want to still end up with the same finish line reward as them. There's nowhere in life does that make sense. Okay? So I don't like that Bungie basically caved in and bent over for the casual players for this event, when Bungie should have said, we're rewarding our players that kept playing our game and did grind to 550 so that they can enjoy and get this exclusive loot as our thank you letter to them for still playing our game, even though we know we're in a rough patch right now with these bugs and stuff, right? Now, second reason why this complaint is so stupid. Y'all was complaining about y'all power not being 550 to get the match reward. This event was going on for 2 weeks. Before the event came out, Bungie been changed the light level system at the beginning of October. It's been the easiest to get your light level up to 550. Easy. I have a friend in the community that literally just started playing Destiny. A couple weeks ago. He got that freaking package that Bungie gave everybody to get their light level to 300. And that man is already at power 400 and something. And he haven't been optimizing, grinding for power. He just been doing his story and stuff, like final shape and stuff. So like, y'all complaining about power not being at 550 when it literally takes a few hours to get the 550 down in the game. It's that easy. It's especially since the event is catering to you gaining power level. So I don't know why Bungie caved in and made the catch-up system for people under 550, but that ruined the event. People should have had to put in time, because it's not like it's the tryhards that's 550. It's the people that was willing to put in time in the game, because it's not hard to get to 550. You just got to put in time. So all you had to do was invest time in the game and you would have been 550. So Bungie should have never even implemented the scaler of if you're below 550, you get bonus points. And then the moment Bungie implemented it, granted, Bungie should have tested the system before they implemented it to the game, but Bungie wouldn't ever have to worry about this if they just didn't do it at all, okay? But because Bungie implemented this, people that was under 550 was scoring higher than people that was 550. I'm talking, I'm over here beating salt mines in 4 minutes and 30 seconds while someone else beating salt mines at like 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and they getting a higher score than me because they under 550 while I am 550. There's someone out there that beat salt mines in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Ridiculous. And someone else was scoring higher than them because they had lower light level and was a slower time. So the moment Bungie implemented this catch-up system for people that was too lazy to get their power up, because that's just the honest truth, you're lazy to get your power level up. You can whine all you want. The game's boring. I want to keep playing this activity. Yada yada yada. Whatever. If that's your take, power to you. But if that's the take you're going to stand on, 10 toes and defend, then you need to stand 10 toes with the consequences that comes with it, which would be you're not able to compete in this event for a higher score multiplier because you didn't grind the game to 550. That is your consequence. If you want to be a casual player, then accept the casual consequences. You cannot be a casual player and then complain that you can't get certain rewards in the game that you got to implement time and investment in order to get. And that was the main issue of this event. A lot of people was whining to Bungie that they couldn't compete in the competitive part of the event. Again, which I said is not the main point of the event. The main point of the event is getting all the loot and vouchers so that you can be ready for Renegade and get loot early in Renegade. That's the whole point of this event, is to get your loot that you didn't get from this season yet, like the crossbow and stuff, and get an early head start in Renegade loot. That's the whole point of the event. But people end up making the main point of the event the competition part, the competitive part. And I don't understand how the casual player going to complain about, you know, the competitive part of the game when you're not a competitive person. You're a casual player. You play the game casually. You don't put that much time into it. But there was a lot of casual players that wanted to get the helmet at 10%, and some wanted to get 1% for the emblem. You gotta pick a side. Are you a casual or are you gonna be a tryhard? You cannot be a casual but want tryhard benefits. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. So Bungie, only answer it could have done after they made the F up with the bug with the score multiplier scaler that they should have never done for the lower power people. Now they had to change it to there's a fixed power on all the scores, which I spoke up in my other video about, that I said would be the solution, but it takes competitiveness out the game. And now people are upset. 550s are upset that the lower power people is getting higher score than them, even though they invested way more time in the game and showed way more skill in the game with higher completion times and stuff, and was not scoring high enough. So, you know, now 550 players are upset because now the competitiveness of the activity got taken out. Now the helmet and emblem is no longer considered the top 1% or 10%, because now everybody can score high without the score changing and it being a peak of what's the actual skill of the community in the game. And yeah, it's just a lot of fumbling, okay? So now the event no longer competitive. The helmet is most likely gonna be given to, it's no longer 10% of community gonna have it. You probably gonna have like 30%, maybe 40% of players having the helmet now in the game. The emblem, you finna have a good like 5%, 10 people having that emblem. So now the exclusivity of the rewards in the event don't feel special anymore. It's basically like, hey, you gave it to everybody because everybody was complaining. And now people can give the argument, well, Bungie never did an event like this anyway. You know, the game is dying, so they need to make sure that everybody plays in the game. No, they don't. That's why we at where we at right now. Okay? That's why we at where we at right now. There's never gonna be fun activities in the game if you keep using a scapegoat excuse like that. Okay? Just be honest. And my videos, comment section and stuff proves it. Twitter proves it. Reddit proves it. Other people's YouTube videos, comments prove it. The casuals are now in the lazy state. They want everything given to them. And I don't give a flying fuck how many of you guys try to defend yourself. No, we don't. We don't want anything. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Cast out the bag. You're proving it. The civil war in the community between the casuals and tryhards is like apparent now. Okay? Some of you guys said it wasn't there. It is there. It's obvious now. Y'all casual players want things given to you. Okay? And when you feel like there's something in the game you can't get, you start slandering the game, you start whining, and you start saying that the game is trash because you can't get something because you don't want to put in the effort to get good at the game. That's the honest truth, and this event proves it. A lot of you guys was throwing fake you know, fake expressions out there saying, oh no, we wouldn't mind if try hard players and stuff got ornaments for being good at the game. You know, we just don't want to be locked out of other things. Then a moment an ornament, armor piece comes out that only the tryhards can get. I wouldn't say tryhard, just decent player and people can get. Now the casual players are complaining about, oh, this event trash. I can't get the helmet because I didn't get my light level up. This whole event is trash. Ignoring the main purpose of the event is just to get loot. Like y'all full of it. Y'all full of it, and y'all just gotta hold this one. Y'all gotta hold this L on this one, because it's the truth. You can't backpedal out of this one. Y'all all showed y'all true colors during this event. Okay, I want to get this off my chest and this think piece off my chest because too many of you guys were being toxic and making fun of freaking Destiny players that were still playing Destiny for the past few months when y'all was talking about only 1% of the players are playing the game. Only 1% of the players playing the game. Why are you still playing this game? And then when an event comes out that the 1% get an advantage because they kept playing the game and the other people want to come back and start playing the game again, now y'all whining that the 1% got an advantage over y'all because they kept playing the game. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Y'all have now gotten that mentality of y'all want the game to change for you instead of you change for the game. That's basically what it is. When 550 players get a higher multiplier, not once did y'all think in your head, some of y'all did. I'm not going to blame all you guys. I'm just talking about the whiners. If it don't apply, let it fly. But some of you guys was like, oh, I can't get my level up. I'm not finna participate. When you should have been like, oh, 550 get a higher multiplier? Let me hurry up and grind a 550 first before I even try these events again. That would have been the logical, rational thing anyone could have said as a gamer, because that's the thing you would do in real life if you couldn't get somewhere in life. You got to get to the standards. You got to get your requirements up there. Okay, you got to meet the requirements. Not know, well, I'm finna whine to the establishment until they meet to my requirements. Like, what? How spoiled can you be? How entitled can you be? And that's where the Destiny community right now is with the new players coming along in this community. Y'all entitled. That's not how this game works. It's a looter shooter. It's a competition. It's competitive. Okay? Now, I did defend Bungie on the 1% thing because, again, in Guardian games, that usually don't happen. I was noticing in this event when Bungie did that little point scaler crap, I was noticing that the event was too volatile. The points were fluctuating too much. It didn't make sense that after I got done doing a run with my fire team, my bros, it didn't make sense that one of us will score 2.9 and then another one will score 2.94 and then another one will score 2.86. It wasn't making sense when we all had the same light level and all type of stuff. That wasn't making sense. So obviously there was RNG going on with the score being applied to everyone. It wasn't consistent. So that was the main issue with Bungie. But then the second thing was, once Bungie added that point scaler for lower power people, you can tell that something was afoot. Because like I said, in Guardian games, once you hit 1%, it's very hard for you to drop out the 1%. Because you had to be very optimal to get into the 1%. And there's not that many people out there that can optimize themselves to equate to the 1% people inside Destiny. And let's keep this known. 1% in Destiny is not like, oh, top 100. Like, no, 1% is like probably like 10,000 players. Okay, 10,000 players. Back then, it was probably like 100,000 players. It's something like that. Okay, so seeing the 1% change every day and get higher, higher, and higher, it was obvious to tell that, okay, these not the 1% players scoring higher and higher and higher. This is people that's low power getting higher scores than what they supposed to be getting. So the 1% not actually 1% right now in the game. The 1% was actually like 10% of people competing. And that's why it was fluctuating that much. So anyone that was getting frustrated about them keep getting knocked out of the top 1%, it wasn't your fault. You didn't do nothing wrong, and it wasn't Bungie's fault. That's usually not how the event goes. Okay? That's not usually how the event goes. Once you're in the 1%, you're 9 out of 10 set in stone for the whole event because you did amazing. If someone passed you, that means it's time to optimize your time a little bit better, but it's very rare. This event was very volatile because of that one change Bungie did, which was people under power score higher. That was the only reason. So next time the event come around, hopefully Bungie don't do that again, and it literally just set it to where there's a constant point value for everyone, okay? Or they can go back to the old thing where everybody 550, because everybody should be 550 at that point. Or they can go to that and anybody 550 gets your regular score, okay? But we need more consistency with the score grading there. If I'm doing a fire team with my friends, we all should have the same score, not we got different scores and we all the same fire team. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, anyone else getting frustrated by that, I promise you that's not how usually it goes, okay? The points did not fluctuate that much. It only fluctuated that much the moment Bungie implemented the point multiplier scaler for lower power people. So if you got anyone you want to blame the lower power people complaining about not being able to compete. That's the honest, brutal truth, okay? Bungie didn't even have to try to make a workaround for that if people just accepted how the event was, grounded their power up, and then start competing. It was a 2-week event. If you couldn't get to 550 in 2 weeks after how easy it is to get your light level up now, that's a you problem. You're not investing time in the game. But that's my opinion on the event. The competitiveness of it got out at the last week, but the decision Bungie took was the right move. After the janked up point scaler, you can't take away Little Jimmy's high score when he's not 550. You can't take away Little Jimmy 431 power score away because he scored higher than 550 because of a bug they did with the point scaler. So like the only answer they could have done was, we setting a set value. If you hit this set value, 1%. If you don't, you're 10%. If you don't, you're 30%. Yada yada yada. So Bungie did the right move. So I know some people complaining about the competition is gone, but after the point bug scandal for the low power people of the casuals complaining, this was the only option to do for this event. And then the solo players, since they can't compete really that much in the Koyo and stuff, and they can only compete in the salt mines, that point thing is an issue. That's an issue because that's the only thing they can really do to really compete, okay? And then we can talk about the high value target and the crucible stuff a different time. But like, this is the only option Bungie could have done. So yeah, maybe next time casual players stop whining and just invest time into the game. Again, this is not even a try hard thing. Invest time. Get your power up. You have plenty of time. You can't blame Bungie for points being accumulated to your power. You just can't. When you have plenty of time to get your power up, at some point you gotta self-reflect and take some accountability of just whining, okay? But I will be doing curious tomorrow for people that haven't hit the 1% or 10%, whatever. Whoever haven't got the helmet, okay? I'm helping people get the helmet, not the emblem. I'm helping people get the helmet, okay? If you end up getting the top 1% from my help, then congratulations, you got the emblem. But I will be streaming tomorrow, carrying people to get the helmet. 7:30 Central Time, and the stream will last however long I want. If it's a lot of you guys, I may push it over to Thursday as well. But love you guys, appreciate you guys always. I just wanted to get my 2 cents on the situation. And until next time, stay up.